Well, guys, we are going to be doing a lot of reading today. Because the first video for today's show dove into the Detroit Red Wings and the Montreal Canadiens, and we spoke about some guys that had been doing pretty well to open up the season. On the Habs side, we had Zach Bolduc and Noah Dobson. On the Red Wings side, we had Patty Kane and Jacob Bernard-Docker. But there are other conversations to be had about Detroit Red Wings guys, and in particular, the young players. Shout out to Emmitt Finnie, who had scored his very first NHL point in yesterday's 6-3 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Unfortunately, for Michael Brandsegg-Nygard and Axel Sandin-Pellikka, they have yet to hit the score sheet in 2 games played, but they have looked pretty good. These guys definitely do belong on the team, and the point production, literally on pace for 0 points throughout the course of the year, doesn't really indicate that. I mean, there are so many guys on the Wings who don't have points yet, so it's kind of okay. But the reason for this video today is because of a new interview published on the Detroit Red Wings website by Jonathan Mills. This is interesting because it's an interview with Steve Yzerman, going out there and saying that the Red Wings rookie trio exceeded their expectations this fall, en route to earning 25-26 opening night roster spots. Brandsegg-Nygard, Finnie, and Sandin-Pellikka all made their NHL debuts on Thursday night. This article is going to be linked in the description if you want to go out there and read it yourself. I wanted to read it here on the channel because these are Steve Yzerman quotes. We don't really pass up the opportunity to read these when they're available, so let's dive into this article over here. Executive Vice President and GM Stevie Y did not expect prospects Michael Brandsegg-Nygard, Emmitt Finnie, and Axel Sandin-Pellikka to all earn spots on the Red Wings' 25-26 opening night roster, but their strong play over the past several weeks convinced him that the trio of talented youngsters deserved to start this season in the NHL. They probably exceeded our expectations, Yzerman said ahead of Thursday's puck drop at Little Caesars Arena. All 3 of them were in Grand Rapids at the end of the year, and all did all right based on what we saw. We kind of anticipated them, at that time, starting the season in Grand Rapids. But we say it every year. No decision has been made until you come to camp. From day one, they started off really good at the 2025 NHL Prospect Games, and continued that in the scrimmages in Traverse City, the Red and White game in Grand Rapids, and they all looked good in the preseason games. We felt that they all earned the opportunity and see if they can sustain it at the regular season, which we expect them to. It was a very pleasant surprise that we weren't necessarily expecting in the offseason. So, there you go. I mean, I'm gonna disagree a little bit here with Stevie Y. I thought Axel Sandin-Pellikka in particular didn't look the best throughout parts of the preseason. I think he definitely got a lot more comfortable as it went on, but it wasn't like a super standout performance out of him to open things up in those preliminary games. Nowadays, though, I'd say that Axel Sandin-Pellikka is definitively one of the best defensemen on the team, just based off of how he's played in these 2 games to open up the season. I mean, he's technically the number 4 right now, alongside of Simon Edvinsson. But really, if we're thinking about defense on the squad, Mo Seider is obviously the big dog. Edvinsson has been looking pretty strong. Jacob Bernard-Docker, as we said, had a very strong debut in yesterday's game versus Toronto. You could realistically say that Axel Sandin-Pellikka is in the thick of it, and he belongs on this roster. All of these guys are relatively young, with the exception of Ben Sherratt. So, it seems like a brand new era with the Detroit team, doesn't it? Let's go back over onto the article here and continue with some of these other quotes from the man himself, Stevie Y. The article says, the 3 20-year-olds all made their NHL debuts against the Canadiens, marking the first time since 2018-19 that the Wings had at least 3 players make their NHL debut on opening night. That season, you had Christopher N. and Michael Rasmussen, along with Dennis Chalowski, Filip Hronek, and Libor Sulak, all debuting against Columbus in 2018. Ay, all these names. At least Philip Hronek's doing alright with the Vancouver Canucks. Rasmussen is still with Detroit. Kinda interesting how that works. Yzerman said he maintains the same approach when it comes to rookies going to the AHL for additional seasoning or making the NHL squad out of camp. We've got to put a 23-man roster in on Monday, Yzerman said. Every year we have to do that. Any young player, if we think they're ready and we think they're going to play, we meet with the coaching staff and ask, what's your plan? Understanding the plan changes daily, but if they're going to play and they're ready to play, we're more than happy to keep them. He then referred to Lucas Raymond, who had earned his way onto Detroit's 21-22 opening night roster and finished his rookie season with 57 points. 4 years ago, we thought for sure he's going to play in Grand Rapids this year, Yzerman said about Raymond. From day one at camp, he was really good and never looked back. We try to keep an open mind with it. It's not set in stone that a player has to go to the American League for an X number of years or games or whatever. Kind of let them play and let their play dictate where they're going to be on the roster and to some extent how the coaching staff plans to use them. Scrolling by over here, this is where we talk about the 3 new dudes. For all of us that have watched them through the preseason and going back to the 2 games in Texas, it's been impressive. You watch Emmitt Finnie skate, the poise and the smarts of Axel and his puck handling skills back there. Then, Michael shooting the puck and playing hard, he's got a real element to his game. I'm not in the room, but I get a sense that it's very exciting for everybody. The fans that have been following the team in the preseason, I think it's obvious they're talented young players, hoping that translates now into the regular season. Yeah, we just gotta give it a little bit of time, and then Michael Brandsegg-Nygard is probably gonna find the back of the net at some point. His shot's too good to think of the contrary. No really different than evaluating anybody else, Yzerman said, in regards to his process in thinking about how these 3 prospects will be evaluated as the season progresses. For these guys, you see the impact that they'll have on the team. They don't need waivers, so if they aren't playing, then they're not going to be having an impact. You can send them to Grand Rapids and let them play down there. For me, it's how the coaches use them and how much of an impact they're having. Hopefully they're having a positive impact and they're not losing their confidence. With those 3 rookies currently part of the mix, there's a lot of optimism about their and the Red Wings' overall potential in the franchise's centennial season. And now, Yzerman said it's on the group, especially the returning players from last year, to turn that into more than just a feeling. I look at the core of the team, starting with Alex DeBrincat and Dylan Larkin, Yzerman said, guys that had good years last year. We expect them to continue, if not get better. Mo and Lucas in year 5 now, like they're entering their prime years and they're going to continue to grow. Add Marco to that group, I expect Simone and all these young guys to take another step and play a more prominent role. And our expectation is, with John and Net, that we'll be stronger, and then we'll see how the young players do. For me, there's a lot of excitement and curiosity to see how this is going to play out, but I'm expecting more from the players that were here. Now, that's pretty great, eh? Mo and Lucas in year 5. That's ridiculous. Who would have seen this? 5 years of Seider and Raymond. Now, also, say what you want about John Gibson starting out in net against the Montreal Canadiens, but things are looking pretty good for the Red Wings. And I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you respond to these Yzerman comments on the matter? He spoke out about Brandsegg-Nygard, Sandin-Pellikka, and Finnie. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button's down there for you as well. Article's going to be linked in the description if you want to read this yourself on your own time. Comments help out with the algorithm. I'd appreciate it if you got involved there. But I hope you enjoyed this Swedish Irish Roll 99. And bye.